Another one says that my relationship with my sister became better after we all grew up. Mom made this difficult when young. There was even someone saying that I once had my mom telling my sister, achana na yeye atakuharibu, and that ruined their relationship.
Yeah, mothers
Yeah.
especially. Actually,
Yeah.
rarely. Like fathers, yes. But these siblings, especially between two girls,
Yeah.
mothers are at the center.
The very
of
center.
hurting dynamics with their parents.
Hi guys, Murugi Muni here.
It's Lydia KM.
And we're back again with another episode of
The Messy In Between.
It's Definitely TMI.
Hi, Spice Girls and Spice Boys. How are you guys doing? We hope you're doing fantastic. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling really good. You?
Really?
Yeah.
I could nap.
I could nap.
I could.
I too.
It's like I could.
Could nap.
I
Yeah.
could
like if
nap.
someone is offering a nap,
I wouldn't say no.
will not say no for sure.
I wouldn't say no. For those who don't know, we shoot 2 episodes in a row. So
Yeah.
the one before and this one. And the last one, which was very heavy and it was also very long.
It was, yeah,
so
so
it's like now
heavy.
this one, obviously you're seeing it freshly, but to us it's like, woo, sister, it was a long one.
And
so
then the
that's what
catch
we
up
like
in
to get.
between the eating, it's just
it's
like
the
it just
eating
feels
as
like the
well.
next natural progression is
is.
to nap. Maybe
Yeah.
we need to be scheduling in a nap in between there. Our promise that
No.
our naps are 3 hours long. So
Yeah,
no.
yeah, a nap is bare minimum is
3
3.
hours.
And then also we don't shut up.
That's your
You think
problem.
we sat down in the bed and chilled during lunch? No.
We literally
Yappa.
constant yappa. Before you know it, smells like so
stop.
it's time for us to shoot again. Really?
Do you think it's a disease?
I don't know, babe. But guess what? We're getting paid to do it.
Okay,
So
fair
we are
enough.
just making money from our yappa.
So then ignore. If it's unhealthy, ignore it as long as you're making money.
That's the thing, yeah.
Ding, you're learning things every day on TMI.
You're welcome, guys. You're welcome. Anyway, thank you for clicking on this video, or if you're listening on a podcast platform, thank you for coming on to this podcast platform and for listening to TMI, the Messy In Between podcast. We're so glad that you could join us. We know that by the time you're watching, you are subscribed, or you are following us on whatever platform it is you're listening to. We know you're following us on Instagram, TMI Podcast KE. We know you're following Lydia KM. We know you're following Murugi Muni. But then when someone DMs and they ask me questions which we have talked about on our platform, just like, I'm not gonna answer that.
It's giving.
Because it's kind of like, why are you being mean?
Yeah, it's
why are you
giving hater.
withholding? Why are you withholding your affections from us? Please just follow us, guys. Let's get into a committed relationship with each other.
Yes.
Thank you.
Be serious. We are committed to you guys, so we would like us.
Yeah.
We don't want to say that we are like sliding in people's DMs,
No, we are
hide
not.
my ID because you
Literally.
won't commit to us.
At least, please, guys. We literally show up every week. We are showing up more often than your boyfriend. The least you could do is
Be loyal to
at
us.
least as you're seeing us every week. Every week.
Every
Thank
week.
you.
No
Thank you so much.
excuses.
None.
No excuses.
None.
Anyway, guys, last episode, we talked about sibling stories. We shared sibling stories, and it was literally just about our sibling stories
our own sibling
because
stories.
someone who won't be mentioned has 8 sisters. So it took a minute to get through us. But anyway, I think it was really good for us to.
So sorry, that was my watch. Sorry.
Yuck. This is why you could never.
You don't? Okay. Sorry. Whoa. I will not take Apple Watch slander on this platform. Sorry. Thank you.
Anyway, we like that we actually did share our own perspective because I don't think we would have been able to do it fully if we didn't do part 2. So this part is about you guys' feedback. Some of the stories that you guys shared about your siblings' dynamics, rivalries. As we said, it's not necessarily always just about it being good or bad, or even the person is being mean or not. It's just a matter of what are the things that are happening here between your siblings. Share with us.
Yeah.
And now, as we say, because we shoot 2 episodes at a time, we don't know your feedback from the last episode, but we trust that you love the episode. You give us a ton of feedback, and we really, really appreciate you.
Exactly. And maybe even there'll be an opportunity in a future one where we're reading like maybe comments of the past episodes.
Do that,
we
for
will
sure.
be able to, because I can just sense that the comments are going to be so spicy.
Yeah.
So when we asked you guys on Instagram about your sibling stories, the first story we had just asked, do you get along with your siblings? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And 78% said yes they do, and 22% said no, I don't.
Get along is really light, so it's like, and still not everyone.
Yeah, and get along is pretty much just like we don't fight, we exist, we can
be in the
coexist,
same
we can
place
be in the same
together.
place. Exactly. Maybe if we had tiered it more like, it's amazing, we have a
Do you have a
phenomenal
great
relationship, yes, and then versus
no.
like, oh, we have an okay relationship, like it's good, and then there's like, oh, we don't really talk that much, and it's like we hate each other.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah,
Nothing's going to happen.
yeah. And then now we asked you guys to now share like what are some of the stories you guys have, how have you guys, like, what have the dynamics changed between you guys as siblings? And obviously, as to be expected, the ones who responded were mostly like really phenomenal ones or really
Severely
really
bad,
horrible
yeah.
ones. And obviously me, the horrible ones are the ones I was drawn to, because I was just like, guy, that's
Yeah.
what's happening with you
Yeah.
people.
And some of them were like negative, were like, oh, I'm so sorry, but no one is at fault here.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I get it, but no one is at fault. Let me give you an example. Also, we're going to be reading them out. So this lady is saying, my younger sister was born prematurely and all the attention shifted to her. So I ended up feeling neglected, especially since I was only 5 when she was born. I felt jealous, and I do love her as my sister, but from afar. I would rather not stay with her for so long in the same house. I feel like she was treated differently and is also the last born. I'm 25, she's 20 now. Technically,
she's 20 now.
Yeah, she's 20 now. Tell me whose fault it is. You have a premature child. They need your undivided attention.
Whose fault it was then, it definitely was no one's fault. Whose fault
That's
it is now, I feel like it's hers. Because I feel like there's something about like recognizing that the decisions your parents made is impacting your relationship with someone who you can do something about that now. Because it's like now the sister couldn't do anything. I couldn't tell my parents, stop focusing on me, focus on someone else. I feel like, in fact, I think she's halfway there. She's able to recognize that it's
not her
because
sister's
yeah, it's
fault.
not her sister's fault. But like now, if you want, you can still now choose to be like, I see that trauma and I can work on that in therapy. I can talk about it. I can do something about it. But does she want to?
Does she want to? And do most people want to? You know, because she feels like, sometimes the problem with the wounds of the past is that I am pained that it happened. And that's where I am. That pain that it happened stays now. And not everyone is willing to let go because there's nothing anyone can do to undo it, you know?
But can you just move forward?
Can you just move forward?
That's mean for
There
you
you
to
go.
say that to me.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, you see, it depends, because like now, from what it sounds like it's just the two of them.
I think so.
You know, and so it feels like, I mean, I don't know.
But you know, it's just like, maybe it's like that resentment that has built over the years. It does take time to undo. But I empathize with her too.
I do
really
empathize. I do
with her.
empathize.
Yeah. I think it's a matter of, this is definitely something you guys can work on. But is she still treated differently? Like, has that changed? Because it rarely does. Because a parent who has a child who had issues, you'll see the way they're even treated now, because the mom still has trauma.
Yeah.
About what happened to their
How
child,
important then would you say it is for, as an adult, for you to, like, even if it's not like addressing or dealing with those traumas, to have a conversation with those people in your life and explain to them, this is why it's difficult for me to be in the same room with you? Or going to tell your mom, when Nani was born, it was really difficult for me to feel sidelined and like neglected by whatever, and so right now I find it really difficult to have a relationship with her, kind of thing. How important is it for, or is it just like something like, oh, you can do it if you want to, but if you don't want to, whatever, just let it go?
It's only as important as the freedom you want from that trauma. Because when you want the freedom from that trauma, you do what needs to be done.
Right,
but if you don't, and you feel like, oh yeah, I'll just stay like this, and it's not really that much of a big deal, and I don't really mind not being around her, then no, you don't really have to. Yeah, and by the way, this happens all the time. Where there's a special needs child, or a child who needed like extra attention for whatever reason, things that tends to happen because it's now the parents there's nothing they can do. Yes, they can reassure this other child that I love you, and things like spending time specifically with this other child so that they know that they are being seen as well. But then sometimes it's like, this is hot, like this is the fire here. And I've seen that before. I've seen that dynamic in my family, like 2 situations, actually 2 boys, where the older one has special needs, and then the other one, they always come out like they're super smart, because it's like they just need another thing to try and get their parents' attention, because they're not getting their parents' attention. A lot of them tend to be people who fend for themselves so easy because nobody was paying attention
to you. Then in that case, I would say, if the objective is not necessarily now developing a close connection with your sister, I would say still go to therapy and still deal with it just for your own
because
stuff.
It's affecting some other
it will
places.
affect something somewhere. Like maybe you'll be in a relationship with a guy, and then as soon as, I don't know, you have a child, you start feeling like, now I'm being neglected because now we you have a child.
Oh,
Like, you
you're
never know
right.
how these things can manifest. So I would say deal with it even just from a personal point of view, even if it's not for rekindling that relationship or whatever, or even having the conversation with your mom or not, whatever, as long as you have actually dealt with that pain of you are neglected or you felt neglected.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. So one comment that stood out to me, and it's actually one of the first ones that came in, was someone said, there's nothing like sibling rivalry. Let's call it jealousy. And I agree.
I don't think so. It's
I don't
not
think it's
all
always
rivalry that's
jealous.
about
Yeah.
jealousy. Yeah. I don't think so.
Actually, which rivalry is not well, yeah, actually, yeah, because okay, I'm remembering from the last episode when you were talking about how when you felt like you were being parentified, it was the jealousy really came from like she's able to just live her life however she wants, and me, I have to be responsible, Lydia, who
But
takes
that's
care of someone. Is it?
that's like resentment, and resentment and jealousy are different in that. And I see where they're both coming from, but it's like sometimes one person feels like they're powerless in a situation where somebody else feels privileged.
Yeah.
So it's not even you that are mad at. It's not really about you at all.
Yeah, really,
exactly.
it's not,
Whereas jealousy, it's about you.
Oh, right.
It's you.
You
I'm
have something
directing
that
this feeling towards you.
I get that.
Yeah. So sometimes the dynamics are like that. Now this lady about the attention, really her sister was born premature.
It's
It
not
can't
like
be
I don't
that she's
want you
jealous
to-
of that.
Yeah,
She can't
yeah.
be jealous of that, but the
Yeah.
attention that she got and makes it a bit uneven. But I get what she's trying to say is that it always is like you got this and I didn't, or this happened to me and you, like that.
Yeah, exactly. This is how I feel about sibling relationships. It's kind of like when I think about them, it's like technically my sisters are just like my friends, the same way I'm just friends with you and other people, but it's like friends who you're forced to be with, to grow up with, to have the same last name as, to share with, things like that. An element about my older sister and me is that because we were close in age, I hardly ever used to get new things. I used to inherit a lot of things from her. Yeah. And so for me, I used to find, like, I guess it was, the word is resentment, really. It's just like I used to feel resentful. You get new things, I inherit your things. And then my younger sisters all get new things because, like, by the time they are being born, obviously they're not fitting in my clothes or whatever. And so I used to always feel so resentful about that. But when you think about it, now when you're adults, we are all just friends, just the same way you're friends with other people.
Yeah.
But for me personally, may still feel like there's an element of like you need to get along. Like you have to be friends. It's like a forced friendship that you just have to work on. But I don't think everyone sees it that way. I mean, I guess you don't see it that way necessarily, because you said when I was saying about how, oh yeah, if you want to build that friendship, you have to like go to therapy and like build it. But I guess not everybody sees it that way.
No, not everyone cares about family. Not everyone cares about their siblings.
Yeah, I've always felt that way. It's like you have to, you need to.
Let me tell you, like I was a full-blown late 20s adult when I interacted with people who weren't family oriented. At Christmas, you don't know what you're doing. What?
Yeah.
Like when I tell you, it was like, wow, I had walked into a world I don't really understand at all. And not because you have a horrible relationship, you guys just don't prioritize. Where?
Even I find that like just so, because for me, I'm like, for me, it's like if me and my sister are not good, it can't just be just like, oh, yeah, okay, I guess so, whatever. I have other friends. For me, it's just like, no, this is your family. This is like your blood sister.
Let's dial that down, because that's the same premise that people use to tell us that we have to expose ourselves to abusive parents and family. That's the exact same narrative.
So for me, it's like, it's less about like you have a responsibility to do it, more than this is something that deserves your attention. So even if it deserves your attention, for you to make peace with the fact that we're not going to talk, but it's something that I can't just ignore, like, oh, this just didn't happen, she just didn't exist.
You can't.
Yeah, me personally.
Or you personally.
Me as Murugi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like it's based on your value system.
Yeah.
If family is something that you put up on top, then you're going to decide that. If it's something like now for me, rich relationships make sense to me. So I'm able to know have relationships with people, but also it matters the ones that I do. You know, it depends on who you are. Yeah. To be honest,
is that a deal breaker thing for you if you meet a guy? What if he's just not like
no. I want somebody who already knows the value of family, who really, and guess what? Some people don't have that. Yeah. And if I met somebody who is just like, that's not something that they ever had, but he really wants to recreate that. Yeah. That one maybe I could get past. But
in fact, that's the best one, because then you can spend so much time with your family, because we're not having to spend so much time with his family.
No. I don't want
Take it from a married person. That's what you want.
No.
It's what you want.
No, if the family is close by.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, if the family is close by, it's like, it's okay. Me, I want somebody who is family oriented.
Yeah.
Somebody who, like, they get it. When I'm just like, I can't see you this entire week, this entire month is for my family.
Yeah.
You get it. I don't
Yeah.
have to explain myself. I really like that.
Yeah. And I don't know, I may just grew up assuming that all Africans were like that, but apparently not.
Nope.
Anyway, and that's on setting boundaries, because like, no, we're not going to be suffering on the hands of this person is your family. You must always be talking to them or whatever. No, we're really not doing that. Yeah.
So this one, she already starts with mine is heavy. So I haven't read these guys, so we are reading them together. I'm a recovering gambling addict. I have put my family through a lot and I owned this. Now it was natural that we fell out with my siblings because of this. I'm 36-year-old single mom of 2 living in my mother's house and depending on the said siblings who don't miss a chance to remind me that I screwed up my life. So this pushes me to gamble so that I can get some money and at least move out and stop being dependent on them. And the cycle continues. Mind you, I'm the firstborn, well-educated, up to master's level, and currently jobless. I've attempted to unalive myself 3 times, and now I just live because I can't kill myself.
Wow.
I can't unalive myself. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I bleeped the other one, but said the last one.
Well, that is incredibly heavy.
That is, because it's like you understand all dynamics involved. I mean, it's hard for the people who were, maybe you are stealing from or who take care of you.
And your children.
It's hard for them to not feel that resentment of like all the things that we've had to do for you. I don't know if it's helpful to keep reminding someone, as you said in your last episode, as far as your sister is concerned, like you it's not like, hello, you screw up, you because it doesn't help. And maybe this is a family dynamic where they don't understand that this is like a disease. Addiction gets to a place where it's no longer like that person is no longer in control. Maybe they don't have that understanding. However, they don't have to because maybe they've gone through so much.
And she's still actively gambling because that's what she's saying.
Well,
actually, the problematic part is like, but she said there, like, this now pushes me to gamble so that I can be able to get money to move out. But surely, I mean, okay, not surely at this point.
Which is difficult like, because you come and bitch to me.
Yeah.
And I have nothing. So the only thing that makes me feel like I could potentially do something, the quickest way is to gamble.
But also now we know for a fact that gambling is not the way then to get money because, oh my gosh.
But if you do have somebody who is facing addiction, I don't say be in their relationship. I don't say necessarily give them grace, but at least don't kick them while they're down. Do you get my point?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm just, because of the struggles of how incredibly difficult it has been. Yeah, but you see, it's almost like, yeah, we don't.
You don't, yeah.
Yeah, but me, what I was going to say is that because I have been in the struggle of having an addict dad and addict sister, I literally have no words of advice to people who are struggling with family members who are addicts, because I've seen how difficult and how painful it can be for, like, right now, actively, you are continuing to gamble and I am continuing to have to take care of you and whatever. And it's like you act like it's just so
frustrating.
It's so difficult. It's
what's
just
that book
really
that you were
difficult.
saying? That
Addictive thinking.
I think anyone who is in a dynamic where there's an addict involved. No, if we're not supposed to say, we're supposed to say somebody dealing with addiction. Read that book.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave the Amazon link down below.
It gives you an inside view of what the other person is experiencing, allowing you to just know what the hell is happening with them, versus feeling like you're an adult, make a better decision, which is not really the case when it comes to addiction.
But again, that whole dynamic is really difficult because remember, I'm also dealing with my own stuff. So I'm doing my own stuff, and on top of that, having to deal with the consequences of your actions. Yeah,
but let me tell you, I don't know what has ever broken my heart than sometimes seeing your experience with Dora.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I've prayed for you many times.
Thank you.
But in those seasons.
Yeah, it's been so difficult.
My God.
My
God.
Oh my, yeah. I mean, being in a situation where it's like you've taken this person to rehab so many times. Now you just said, okay, now we are all going to pull together. You've paid 100,000 or whatever for them to go to rehab, only for them to come out after 3 months, and the next day they are drunk. And now that's like your money, it's gone down the drain. No one is coming to thank you. No one is coming to be like, oh, I recognize that you actually didn't buy Mukeni a new scooter because you decided to take me to rehab. No, that's just your money. It's just gone like that.
See, those kind of things, like, they stay with me.
That's
They
the
stay
thing.
with me. I'm telling you.
It's
They
really
stay
difficult. Yeah.
with
My
me.
mom has
It's-
done a couple of interviews, and if I find them, I'll link them down below about like how families, how like her organization supports families who have like an addict or like someone who's struggling with addiction, because really that is where in fact, when somebody comes out of addiction, being able to even support them and just interact with them like normal, like this,
No.
without reminding them, remember there's 100,000 which I paid for rehab. Remember that time that I came to save you, and then no, because that obviously doesn't help them now
That's
recover.
the thing. It doesn't.
But also, who now validates you and your struggle of how much
and
money
your
you
anger.
spent? That's it.
And your pain and your betrayal and all the mistrust that's happened, because I actually feel like if you're going through an experience with someone who's struggling with addiction, it's kind of, it's abusive to you.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's a you're being violated in many ways,
So many
but
times.
because they're sick, it's
Yeah, it's a lot. My heart really does go out to anyone
my
who
God.
wrote about having like a sibling who is struggling with addiction. We are so sorry, and we all we can do is pray.
All we can do
and
is
hope
pray.
and hope for you.
Okay.
Let's read one positive one.
Please.
Someone says we are two. She even says, "Love you, Gracie." Gracie's her sister, I guess. We rivaled when we were young. Right now, she's my bestie.
Oh,
So lovely.
Love that.
Yeah, to anyone who is like probably in like late teens, because teens seems to be the season where a lot of people are like
the
at odds
identity
with your
building bit.
that's
Yeah.
the thing. It's like everybody's trying to figure out where they are, who they are, kind of thing. Please rest assured that in future it gets better. In fact, I most of the situations that we see is just like, oh yeah, we don't get along. Later on, people end up getting along.
Yeah.
Not all the time though.
Yeah,
but
those
sometimes.
teen years, like I think most people end up breathing through. You're right.
Exactly. Then
Yeah.
afterwards, it's kind of like you grow. When now people have like their lives have now lived, and yours has gone this direction. Now it's like, oh, we can be friends without the burden of like who you are is affecting my life right now, because
Yeah.
mom and dad are always angry at you. Now we are all grounded because you have water. No, please, we don't need that.
We don't. We don't. I don't know mine if they're good or bad unless someone has said. So, me and my twin brother were born as last-born twins in a stable family. We have one big brother. I am the only girl. Me and my twin have been best friends since birth. We are 21 now. I call him my man. Shh. We never lived away from each other until high school. I remember primary school, we used to be classmates. We both got myopia the same time. We smile the same. We wear same color glasses. We are both smart. He's an extrovert. I'm an introvert. Same taste in music. We shared all our teenage love stories, and actually up to now I can write an essay on what's going on in his life and be 100% accurate. We currently live away from each other. He's doing his degree in Europe and I am doing law school here in Kenya. The love grows stronger each day with the distance between us. In fact, he is the perfect definition of the kind of man I would want to marry in future. He inspires me. In every guy I have dated, I've always felt like I deserved better when I compared them to him. I've got to say that there's some nuances.
There's certain elements.
There's some nuances that are feeling.
Let me tell you what I love about that. And I was telling Lydia this, I think, at the end of the other episode, is that I've shared with my therapist, and I think even just to Lydia, that I struggle to even like believe that men and women can be like truly close and truly friends without there being any kind of like romantic or sexual element to that closeness.
Despite many examples.
But just because I myself haven't experienced it, and maybe it's like the fact that growing up, I didn't have anyone who was that close to me for me to have that kind of relationship. And then also because my body developed kind of young, I feel like my earliest memories of boys is just being sexualized. Yeah. So for me, it's just like men see me as like a sexual being, and that's really just like how the relationship between boys and girls are. So even when I hear things like this, it's just like automatically I'm just like, are you sure everything is all right? Like, kind of thing. It's just like, but at the same time, I really, really envy that, because for me, it's just like the bar was in hell with men, because it's just like, I mean, there was no of like, oh, I've seen this is how like two friends can treat each other, and like, oh, this is just a really great guy who's just my friend.
Yeah.
I just didn't have that.
I get it. So I feel like I understand that from the perspective of sometimes when I see fathers and daughters, many times I feel uncomfortable with what's going on, and I know I'm the one who's sexualizing it, because older men and me, it's like I didn't grow up with like older men around me in that way. So it's like I can't unsee something
that you're a boy and she's a girl, and
I
and
can't
you holding
unsee
her.
that.
Is that okay?
Yeah, but mind you, I can see my cousins. I can see like people on the same one, because I actually, what I realized is that because she's brother, my cousins were all
being her cousin,
my cousin, we were all brought up together. I had a brother in a way, like, so I knew that boys and girls could be just boys and girls. But yeah, I know what you mean by that, because you have never seen a platonic dynamic from that perspective, so it is.
And I always feel like people are pretending. Like, stop pretending. Someone you want to sleep with him. It's just that you haven't gotten the opportunity.
Her brother.
No, I'm not saying her. I'm just saying like anyone else. Even you, when I see you with your male friends, I'm just like, really, babe?
Are you serious?
Who are you fooling? Yeah,
are
just tell us you kissed. Tell us you fucked. Just say. Just say. No one's judging you.
Not one of my male friends.
Or sometimes I feel like maybe somebody wants to. It's just that because the boundary has been drawn, that's why he's not. But if Lydia was to even look at them in a certain way, it would be like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, but maybe that's true. But that doesn't mean that then the platonicness is not real.
Because that's how I feel.
Oh, no. That's not how it works.
Oh,
no. Even some girls, it's like, if this one gave you a wink, you'd be on top of her. Managing. In 2 minutes, but it doesn't mean that platonic energy is then false. Or even if friends cross a line, it doesn't mean that energy now is not real. I don't think.
Does
no,
it not mean that?
It doesn't. It doesn't.
What?
Yes, not at all.
No,
and people
don't have experience.
Like, oh, if you had an opportunity to sleep with this person, you'd sleep with them. So that means that you don't really love me. Well, yes, I love you, but
also, I would eat them out in a second.
Two things can exist at the same time.
Yeah, no.
That for the record, I have never slept with any of my male friends.
Wow.
I draw that boundary clearly. Yeah. If I want you, let's go.
So you had thoughts about that situation?
Oh, yeah.
Her and Haman.
Yeah, I feel like there's many of that. However, I think we might be putting something nasty in it because we are broken.
That's it.
Yes.
we are broken, and we have said.
And you are fine. And that is such a beautiful story.
Yeah. So we also had a few messages of people referencing how their siblings' relationship with their parents or their relationship with their parents impacted the sibling relationship. So one person said, I love my sister so much that protecting her from my mom has ruined our mother-daughter relationship. Yeah. Another one says that my relationship with my sister became better after we all grew up. Mom made this difficult when young. There was even someone saying that I once had my mom telling my sister, achana na yeye atakuharibu, and that ruined their relationship.
Yeah, mothers especially. Actually, rarely, like fathers, yes, but these siblings, especially between two girls, mothers are at the center.
The very center.
Of hurting dynamics with their parents. Yeah. Something I wanted to actually point out on the last episode is that my mom never tolerated fighting. Oh. You know how it's just like, oh, they're just fighting. No. My mom was like, you guys have fought, but it needs to be, it was very clear that we had a responsibility to each other to not be mean or cruel, or it was a thing we just knew.
But did she used to recognize the complexity of like that situation? Like if Lydia has done something to hurt me.
She's not even involving herself. Oh. So it's like, you're allowed. If it happens, it happens. But we both knew that it was something that we needed to put top of mind to have like a healthy dynamic. And I see sometimes parents are not as, I don't know, sensitive to the fact that like your kids are treating each other like shit.
Yeah.
Would you like to intervene here or?
Now, you see, this is one of those things where it's like, for me personally, I've had to release my mom of just like, you are doing the best that you can. And there's like, that's really just all that it was. Because like I said in the last episode, a huge amount of focus really went in Dora. Dora is hurting. How can we help Dora out of addiction? How can we whatever? Such that even when she came out of it, a lot of her reconciliation efforts were focused on forgive her, allow her, whatever. Whereas the rest of us kind of felt like, yeah, but can we talk about the things that she did, the things that she stole, the time that whatever, then you know how she's treating people now. It was a lot on like, let's protect her, as opposed to like, yeah, we all want to build a positive relationship with her, but can it be on the basis of having real conversations as opposed to just forgive, you know? Because a lot of us, I mean, at that time it was just like, I'm not in the space to forgive right now.
Yeah.
But it's like I want to build a relationship with her, but right now I can't just say, oh, I've forgiven, everything is water under the bridge.
And I want you to validate what I need to forgive.
Exactly, yeah.
What do I need to forgive?
That is
Let's
the thing,
discuss
yeah.
that.
And validate that, because for her, a huge part was just like, but even Jesus died for our sins, and like God has said that we should just forgive and we should let go of the past, because what use is it holding on to the past? But we were like, it's not about holding on to the past, it's acknowledging it and recognizing that it did happen, and how can we protect ourselves from it happening again, kind of thing.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like, okay, you did your best, but what you would do different, you would do different.
So what would you say as far as like, what is a parent's role with regards to their kids, the relationship between their children?
Yeah. I don't know if it's, my mom even had much to do with my relationship with Aggie, because after the separation, the time when we weren't with our mom, when we moved to the UK, me and Aggie just had something. We had experienced something together that nobody's ever going to understand. Like, that's just a space that, it's only her who gets. So that love was already so solid with me and Aggie. So she didn't necessarily do much to necessarily build that. But what I saw is that we were afraid to be caught bitching at each other. We were afraid to be caught, like, my mom had a strict role that the responsibility to each other is also to be kind and to be good and to be loving. So I knew that she taught a lot of loving each other, like, it's good to be friends. Like, she really pushed that narrative about closeness with your siblings. Sometimes I guess it's something you can do because they are not close, and some people don't want to get over some resentments and all of the, you never know. But I felt my mom made it a responsibility for me to be good to my sister.
And for her to be good to
you. And for her to be good to me. I think we both felt that, like, innately in us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I was going to sneeze.
Oh, sorry.
Don't touch me, I'm about to. Fuck you, man. Wow. I feel like from reading these messages, it's clear that mothers have such a huge impact in how people see their siblings. If also you're always hearing your mom saying, Lydia is the best, Lydia is this, Lydia is this, of course now it's going to build that resentment.
Yep.
But in the same way that it has now, in a lot of the contexts that have been shared, it has been negative. I feel like as a parent, you have the opportunity, especially when the kids are younger, before they have like developed their minds. So like maybe like from when they are 5 and they can like they're actively remembering and hearing, to the time they're like maybe 18, constantly saying things in their whatever about, like, as you've said, being kind and good, but also positive elements that show that I love you all equally, and you're all so amazing to me, and it's so we are stronger as a unit kind of thing. And I feel like I have really strong recollections of my mom always in some regards like trying to like bring us together, like orchestrating events for us to spend time together, orchestrating like, oh, this is a dinner, I want us all to be whatever, getting us all gifts which are the same, like, oh, all of you I've gotten you a bracelet which is the same for all of you. Basically, as a mom, I feel like, I don't know, I'm saying as a mom, but I guess because in our home it was my mom, but I guess it's as a parent, it could be a mom, it could be a dad, but creating unity, I feel like parents really have a role to play, and you can do so much to create unity among your kids in a way which even as you grow up, you can be like, when I hear my dad and his siblings, they're always saying like, oh, Babu used to do this, he always said about being unified. It's like the things he used to say have really impacted them today and really encouraged them to like stay connected. So I feel like as parents, we need to emphasize that a lot.
That sense of unity. I agree. I think you learn to love each other from what is being reinforced around your environment. Yeah, I agree. Those were yours, yeah? Okay, so this one, I am the 4th out of 5 among my siblings, and there's a big age gap between the first 3 and the last 2 siblings. By the time me and my younger sibling were being born, my parents had really progressed in life and became wealthy. I have lived in the best neighborhoods, gone to the best schools possible, and generally a more comfortable life than compared to my older siblings. Their upbringing was different. They were brought up in hardship and didn't get the same opportunities that I have had. I have seen this has really affected our relationship in that they act in a manner that they resent me and my younger sibling for having a better early upbringing than they did. They show us in snarky comments, jealous behavior, and general meanness. I have unpacked this in therapy and have come to understand their behavior, but it's not to excuse it. The result of this has been almost no contact unless necessary, and I'm okay with that.
I love that you've gone to therapy. I love that you're okay with where you are. It doesn't seem like she's in the wrong or any fault is to
and
her
understanding without making an excuse.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like and actually this is the best place to be. Many things happen that are no one's fault. Your sister was special needs. It's no one's fault. But now how we act about that, especially as adults, we have to draw the line somewhere.
Yeah.
But that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
And or sometimes what happens, another resentment that happens is that your dad, maybe you, like now, maybe how my dynamic was, where my dad, we didn't grow up with him, right? We relocated, and then he gets another family and treats those kids
better, so good,
and he's more present. And a lot of times, a lot of people learn from their first families or the mistakes to make. So you are the experiment, and now I have these ones who I love so much, so dearly. We do all the you saw what's it with the Kardashians, Bruce Jenner. I guess we are still allowed to say that, right?
No.
Oh, I guess.
I need to sneeze.
Sneeze then.
Stop talking. It's gone.
So Bruce, Caitlyn Jenner,
formerly Bruce,
yeah, was had a family before. Akina Brody Jenner, etc., etc. And then he had this other family who now he has children with Kris Jenner, who is Kendall and Kylie. And I remember Brody once put like took him as he was him then, and was telling him about how he feels some kind of way about how he is with his other kids, because he was such a hands-on dad, and clearly that wasn't the case, and that can be painful.
It can be really painful, but I guess now, like you're saying, being in a position of like understanding, because one, maybe the dynamics between like Brody's mom and him were different, which obviously results in being a different parent. Yeah, younger, you are working, you are like, now see, that was before you were in his Olympians, do all that, whatever. So you're obviously a different person. By the time now he's with Kris, it's like you're so much older. He's literally like a whole other person. Yeah. But either way, regardless of what the reason is, it can be really difficult.
It can be really painful.
Even this concept of like financially, like you when you were born, it was like easier financially versus later on when it was and in our family we actually experienced that, because when me and Angie were growing up, let's say even Dora actually, when we were like in teens, and even like in our late not babiness, but like 8, 9, 10, whatever, all the way till we were like late teens, we were very financially comfortable. By the time Nelly was born, and like by the time now she was getting to like 10 and entering her teens, now my dad's alcoholism had really gone past the point of like functional whatever, and like now the struggle was more apparent, you know. And so for her, I feel like her experience with my dad has been really different, because for us it was like, yeah, he's an alcoholic, but you know what, at least he shows up financially, and he used to pick us up from school sometimes, he would buy us all these things, you know, we were living this massive house, and like it was just like different. It was like it's easy for us to look past your alcoholism kind of, because at least there's money. With her it was like you're just an alcoholic and there's nothing you're bringing. So now it was just like, I mean, that definitely affected the dynamic of how she interacted with him, of how she interacted with my mom, and like, I guess, I mean, so it's just, it even makes me wonder. It's just like we are siblings, but we've grown up in completely different environments, completely different.
And that can be like, why me?
Yeah, exactly.
Why me? Why am I going through this? Yeah, it's a tough one. I would not recommend holding your siblings against the resentment of dynamics like that, because it only creates what? You're jealous, I get it, and I see why, but there's no one's fault. No one's at fault here. So definitely for her, the older siblings for sure need to also do their own healing. But it's good. Sometimes people won't. They don't want to come. They don't want to meet you where you want to be.
Yeah. The difficult thing for me is like, unlike with a friend who you can kind of be like, okay, you know what, I'm going to have you at arm's length, and it's like, I don't have to interact with you that much. If you are a family person, we will go to family events and we'll be together. But are you willing to live with the awkwardness of that?
Oh, by the way, I'm willing to live with the awkwardness.
I hate living with awkwardness.
Oh, really?
I'm just like, I don't like it. And you know, because me naturally, I'm a confrontational person. It's just like, let's just talk about it. Let's just say, you can stew.
Oh, baby, I can sit in that stew. And see, my huka passed away.
You can sit in the soup.
Yeah. So I had to be in the vicinity of people I kind of loathe at times. So what do? See, you sit. You just sit. It's this one day. That's why I just kept telling myself, it's just this season. It's this season, because otherwise I would be nowhere near these people. Yeah, so you just sit in it, because like, okay, I've confronted you. Now what have we done? We fought. And then what has that done?
Tomorrow we fight.
And then tomorrow we fight again. And also a lot of the time, especially around funeral situations, I think about representing who has passed away. I know my huka would just be like, what are you
What's
doing
happening?
arguing
Yeah.
with nonsense? Like, just don't do that. So I was thinking about that, like, what's the best thing? Like, how can I represent my guka the best way? Because trying to fight with people about, for what? They don't like you either. So it's like, let everyone just sit in there not liking each other and we move.
It's so
I can do
uncomfortable.
it.
I'm
Ooh,
so
baby,
uncomfortable
I
with the
can
thought
do
of
it.
someone sitting somewhere not liking me, because I feel like if you are, that means you don't really understand what was happening and
No,
what was
some
going
people know you, they understand you, they see you, and they don't like you. And that's okay.
on. Yeah, but it's not nice.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's neither here nor
Whatever.
there. Being liked
Oh,
anymore. Oh my
yeah.
God, I released myself from that.
Yeah,
A
if you
long
don't
time
like me,
ago.
that's it. Thank you.
Or
Someone
someone
said,
will give therapy.
I know. Why don't I like? I'm doing my best. So there are other kinds of situations, which is like those ones which we are saying is like it's not that you love each other, but you don't hate each other. One lady said, "My sister and I are 10 years apart. We are good, but it seems like the bond is not there." That's it. That's the end of the comment. But
that
here,
happens.
yeah, exactly. And I feel like, especially like with big age gaps, I feel like sometimes it's just like
Are
you
you
can
my
just be okay.
sibling?
Yeah. But it
Even.
can also just be like, yeah, we are sisters, without necessarily being that you have to be really close. And the reason I'm
Yeah.
saying this is that any single time that I post anything about like my sisters and we've done this and we've done this, I always get so many DMs of like, oh, I just wish that me and my sister could bond like that. I wish we could do this and this and this. But I feel like people need to release themselves from it having to be that this is your best friend. I feel like getting along is good. I mean, the ideal is that you guys are really, really close, but sometimes that's just not the case. Maybe sometimes you grow up and like your personality is completely, radically different from mine, and we
Yeah.
don't see eye to eye. Maybe you are a super staunch Christian, and me, I'm a devil worshipper. How are we going to be? Yeah, and you just have to just
they're
like
very
accept.
big
Yeah,
differences. I know for sure that me and my sister get along way more
Yeah.
because we are so aligned. We are literally into the same things. Like,
Yeah.
and especially our journey with like self-development, it's been exactly the same. And
Yeah.
we always pull each other into something. I got into therapy.
You're
Get into
there. therapy.
She quit alcohol. I
You're
quit
quit
alcohol.
alcohol.
So
Now
it's
look.
like,
Yeah.
we've gone together in so many ways. Now imagine it was the other way around.
Yeah. Yeah, it
It
would be
might not
difficult.
happen.
Yeah.
And you've got to respect somebody else's journey because
That's the thing.
what are you
And
gonna
sometimes
do?
it's not a problem. Sometimes it's just like that's just the way that it is.
Yes. And
you
since
just
you
accept
guys
it
have
as it
seen us
is.
accept our complex dynamics
Yeah.
with our fathers, know that God gives in some ways and not necessarily in another. So maybe it's sisters.
we got
did something.
sisters, yeah.
God did something.
Me and
with
Angie,
that.
I went look at Angie. I'm just like, oh my god, if I had to grow up by myself,
No way.
no,
Through all of
I
that.
can't. I can't.
Not be able to
literally,
look back
no.
and be like,
oh my god,
No.
yeah, no, thank you, no, thank you.
okay. I think that was yours, no?
Yeah.
My mom abandoned. Oh, wow. Okay. So this one seems like it might be a heavy one. My mom abandoned us when we were still kids. So my sister had to step in as mom, quote unquote, for me and my younger sibling. It was so hard for us to see her as our sister because she was always siding with our dad or acting like a mom. We never even trusted her because we would tell her something you would typically tell your sister and she would tell on us to our dad or call you out. We used to fight a lot, even physically. My problem was that she was being a parent instead of an older sister. Update to now, she has changed so much and is my best friend in the whole world. We had a conversation when I was 18 and I told her how I felt. Surprisingly, she was very understanding. I even came out to her and introduced her to my partner. She's so supportive and my biggest cheerleader. Where we stand, there is nothing I wouldn't tell my sister. It's been 7 years now.
Thank you for that
thank
really
you
good
for
edit.
that
I didn't see that coming.
I did not. I was like, this
see
gets
that.
darker and
I was
darker.
just gonna be like, so sorry.
Oh my
That's really
God.
amazing. I love that.
And the courage to have that conversation as well. Most people never ever do. And the fact that your sister was able to understand, and maybe even in her understanding, maybe you could see, like, she probably took on that role because what was going to happen. Like, she felt like she had to be the parent. But that's so beautiful and wonderful. Woo!
I love
Faith
that
has
happy
been
ending.
restored
Yeah.
a bit.
I really sympathize and empathize for the sisters who have had to turn into mother kind
Oh
of
my
roles.
God, yeah.
I feel like it is like it's really difficult in a really unique way because you never feel like you're doing the best of either of those two things. You're being a good enough sister or a good enough mother / caregiver, and it's like it's difficult to ignore the fact that you feel the need to cover both roles, and it just can be really, really difficult to navigate that.
Yeah, especially when you're a child, it's like Like you don't even know how to be you, and you have to take care of somebody else.
Yeah,
It's
it
really
can be really difficult, but I love that she was open to like hearing and understanding, because probably even her at that time, she felt like she was doing the best, and it's just like, oh, it's her responsibility to make sure that you're safe. So if she doesn't then tell your dad that, oh, she's sneaking out or whatever, then maybe she'd just be like, if something happened to you, she would feel like it's her responsibility. But at the same time, it's also just like she's just your sister.
And she could just be your sister.
Yeah.
But anyway, we love that
Yeah.
has ended up in a good way.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Do you feel like, I mean, okay, Mia had said that when people now get older, obviously now the trauma of like your childhood, now when you get older and you're able to have the conversation, sometimes it can go really great and the person acknowledges, sometimes it can go not so great, right? And I feel like, what should somebody do if like you try to bring up the thing and just be like, you know, when we were growing up, I really used to feel like you never understood me, or what, you judged me, you bullied me, or whatever. If the response is not what you imagine it should be,
first of all, test the waters. Is this person still a bully, difficult? Then leave it alone. But if somebody who you've seen evidence that they've changed to a different person, then you start with acknowledging that you are aware that they probably didn't know that that's what they were doing, and that you knew that maybe, like for example, in this situation of a mom, it's like, I thank you so much for taking on the role of mom, because that was never yours to take. You had to bear the burden of being a parent and also figuring out to be your child, and you did such a good job taking care of us. Start there. And then say, there are some ways that in being in that mother role, I feel like you are betraying our sisterhood, because I wanted you to be my sister. And a lot of times you came on to being a mom, and I felt like you couldn't see me, I couldn't trust you, and I would really like to work on that.
That's so good.
Why do I feel like
please write that down, guys? Listen, if you've not written, please just rewind. Just write down what Lydia said.
Assuming this is somebody who you've seen has like somebody who can listen to these things, because if they're still mean, they probably won't receive it well. But I think it's good to acknowledge that she was being a kid.
Yeah, she literally was being
she
a
was
kid.
being a kid who was being made to be a parent. That's so tough on her. That like was so tough on her. It was. And let me tell you this, like even in my parentification, it's not like I needed to cook for Aggie or anything like that. So this wasn't exactly that dynamic. It's just that I was aware that there was somebody else that I needed to be aware of, to like see, to
make
care
sure
for, make sure she gets to home, and you know, all of those things. And I see how parenting is for adults.
Now imagine parenting for a small child.
No,
that is good night. The comments that people left, where they were talking about how they have a difficult relationship with a sibling who they live with right now, like they're adults and their sibling is like they have a difficult relationship and they still live with them. I feel like those ones, for me, it's kind of like a thing of like, if now you're adults, now we have already finished childhood, and now you're adults and it's not working. Just
unfortunate.
That's the thing. Just let it go, because like if at some point, unless you are financially dependent on them. There was someone who left a comment saying that she had to move and live with her brother and his wife during COVID, and like they really mistreated her and like fired their house help and made her the house help and stuff like that, and she couldn't say no because you're being taken care of. It definitely helps when obviously you're financially responsible for yourself. You would imagine that if someone is your relative, you would not be treating them badly, even though you are having to financially be responsible for them. But
it happens.
It does happen.
And also, what I would say, oh my God, what did I want to say? I would say that if you want to work on any relationship in your life, let me see how you're working on a relationship with yourself. Let me see you in therapy. Let me see you dealing with your stuff before you table somebody else's. Because half the time you're tabling the stuff in a way that might not be helpful. Maybe you're tabling the stuff hoping for validation, which you need to give yourself first. There are many things, but I tend to find it interesting sometimes. By the way, I think I might save the therapist contact list, whatever, on my highlight. But anyway, there are many places where you can get free therapy. So if it's about money, there's that. But it's like, you work on you. I want you to change. Let me see you change, baby.
And let me ask you now, at the point at which, let's say somebody is like parentified, and for you in your situation, when you went to live with your mom, obviously now it's like, now you no longer have to do this. Your mom is here, she can take care of it. But for people who, especially like now, even in older, like now you're adults and you're still parents because maybe you're paying fees or whatever, how do you, once they have achieved some level of independence, how do you then change that dynamic? Because I feel like that's also something that worries me sometimes, because you see how like the nature of your relationship has now grown over many years based off of this is the way that it is that I take care of you, such that even when you become independent, you might still still find that when you guys are together, you're still interacting like that parent-daughter kind of thing, and like whatever. How does the parentified sister now change the dynamic to now be like, okay, now you're independent?
Oh, let me tell you. So what I've actually found is actually one of our friends, Hannah. Hannah is like, we've been friends with her since we were, I think, since we relocated to the UK when I was 11. So she called, and we're really close with both of us. Like we call her our third sister, and she called it out. And she was like, sometimes she sees that when I'm around Aggie, I make decisions for Aggie like Aggie's not an adult. Of course, me was like, what are you talking about? But I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. For me, it was just like, what do you mean? Like what?
Yep.
Like what? What do you mean? So what? I fed her cereal. You know, it's like, so that dynamic, especially if it's set in a little young age, even you see, despite the fact that it wasn't like a whole teenage, that just, it sticks with you
somehow.
It sticks with you. So it's been a long time coming. A lot of it has come from a perspective of me sitting the hell down. And also, as I said, watching Aggie take care of me when I broke my leg, that healed
Does it require a conversation?
Okay, so it requires a broken leg, clearly. So break your leg.
Because I feel like at some point it's like, okay, some things require conversation, some things don't. But like, would it be worth it, like somebody, if you're trying to break that cycle, is just sitting and being like, I know for the longest time I've been your caregiver, and like, I'm the one who's taking care of you, and this is the dynamic, but like now you're independent, I'd love for us to relate in a different way.
I think that's good. Yeah. But despite my awareness, it's something which I have to really actively, I have to actively,
because it's natural, like your body, it's just like,
I have to fight tooth and nail, baby, especially when we are around. And I think if we weren't a long distance, I would be in that role way deeper. And guess what? She would be in her role deeper too. So it's not a matter of I'm always thinking, why are you frustrated that you're always taking care of the other person? Maybe stop. You sit down, because you've got to stop you. It's not the other person until they're them. And by the way, Aggie now, because little Aggie also lives in the UK now, and I saw Aggie being like kind of big sister with little Aggie.
You're like, wait.
I was like, and Aggie is so capable. Aggie is a very, very capable woman.
Which one, little or big?
My
Aggie,
sister. She's so capable. Actually, Aggie has always been more independent than me. Like, but it's me who is like, that dynamic is set there. But she also says that when she used to be around me, it's like,
let me now rest. So that's what I was saying about me and Angie. When Angie's around, I'm just like, oh yeah, I guess
somebody else can handle it.
Yeah,
so I would say a conversation, if you guys are like close enough and proactively watching each other, like, hey, sit down, I can do that for myself.
Relax.
Would you like to do this for yourself? And maybe have somebody else who can be like a healthy mediator between the two to observe that dynamic. Somebody who isn't your parent, because your parent is also used to how you guys are.
You're right. So sometimes, like when I'm interacting with Nelly, like I don't know if it's like last born behavior or Gen Z behavior, but sometimes she like ask me a question which is just like, you could answer that question for yourself. Like I don't need to. Whatever. It's just like, oh, should I send this document here? Like, you can see on the form it said, definitely send it, kind of thing. And it's like, but there are some ways in which, like, sometimes when I'm feeling like, oh, I like being needed, I like that you need me, then I'll just indulge her and just be like, oh yeah, it's okay, let me do that for you, or let me send this, whatever. But now, because I'm just so actively very aware of that dynamic, I'm usually like, so just like, oh, is this something that I would do for a sister, or is this something I would just do for my child, kind of thing. And like, remember, she's 21, she's literally not baby Nelly, you know.
Aggie's turning 13 August.
No, guys. Is she?
Yes.
Dora is starting 30 in October.
Yeah, I know. We've been through this so many times.
They're the same age,
Yes.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Wow, so they are actually, so it's not a 4. Oh, yeah, you're older than me.
I'm older than you, yeah. But only by a year. Yeah. But I don't know. For us, it just seems a lot. But it's because you were there waiting. I can't wait to get my little sister. Me was like, I already have my best friend, who's Angie. I don't know who you are.
Yeah, no, I could not wait to get Aggie.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so you have to actively remember you are no longer in that dynamic, and you have to empower yourself as an adult to not continue and perpetuate that dynamic.
Have you and Aggie ever had a physical fight?
I think when we were younger, I remember a physical fight when we were like, maybe like 12 there. Yeah, it wasn't like so severe, but yeah, I remember that.
Oh, wow. You beat her? You don't
Did
recall?
I?
You just remember having like a
Yeah, it was like, yeah,
yeah.
like that.
Oh, as we have, I think in my teenager, it must have been like 16 or 17. She beat the fuck out of
Who?
me. Angie, da.
Oh, yeah. Why?
I can't remember what we were fighting about. It must have been one of these snitch situations where I snitched on her or whatever. But yeah, I remember us fighting and her really beating me. That's what I remember.
God.
Yeah.
Like what? Punches in your face
I
or
think
what?
so. I remember her throwing a chair at me or something like that. It was like intense. Yeah. But we survived it. And look at us now. Look at us now. Yeah, but I remember that.
Yeah,
I had
I
to
think
ask her,
it,
do you
it
remember
wasn't.
what
It
we
was
fought about?
fast. It was quick. Yeah, it wasn't a. Yeah, it was
That's
fast.
good.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. There's someone who wrote something. I've just thought about that because there's someone who has written here. As we fight all the time, but we fight in love. Tunakasirikiana, and then we reconcile pretty fast. They wrote pretty first, but they actually mean pretty fast and said love him. I feel like sometimes there are things which people are willing to overlook for their siblings that they wouldn't overlook for friends. Or is it the other way?
Definitely.
Exactly.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, which is problematic.
Is it?
Isn't it?
But you're closer to me. I should overlook some things more.
Right.
Right?
So, yeah.
But I don't say that you should do that more for abuse or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
let people take the piss like that. But yes, people are willing to tolerate more for family.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not it's to their detriment.
I think so. I wonder how Gen Zs are with their siblings though, because I feel like Gen Z don't take no shit.
They don't.
They really don't.
Those fuckers
They
are
will
not
they will
playing
cut
with
you
you.
off over anything.
Yeah, they are not playing games with you.
Yeah, and that's why the generation gap between like where my parents' age is, I think there's like literally 3 generations between then and like where Nelly is.
Oh my
so
God,
my
yeah.
dad just cannot fathom like, what do you mean you're not talking to me and you're cutting me off because I financially abuse you? Like, what do you mean you're not talking to me, kind of thing, But yeah, I love it for them. I feel like they are going to be the first generation to truly be rid of black tax.
Yeah, and be authentically themselves and all of that.
Yeah.
I also feel like I don't know if they would make great older sisters.
No, they are so self-centered. Gen Zs literally just love themselves, which is great, but I don't know if they would make great big. I don't know.
Yeah, because I wonder what the Gen Z like dynamic is when you are like me, safe space, boundaries.
Oh, right. Okay, from
do you
that
know what I mean?
element,
from like this
okay.
perspective of I'm your older sister,
Right.
But it's like healthy boundaries. Like I'm not taking on your stuff. Very therapized.
Yeah, what happens to the little sister who just needs to be parentified? I mean, who needs their parentified
You
older
Gen
sister
Z ain't
to
parentified
take care
for
of them?
nobody. The 1-year-old, she can fend for herself.
Oh, geez.
But I've got to say that I feel like millennials over-exaggerate how Gen Zs are because
Yeah.
we are such a severe on the other side.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
and
really,
also
I
we
feel
really
like you're all...
admire them. I feel like we admire them
I
so
worship Gen
much.
Zs.
Yeah.
I die for your validation,
So,
guys.
yeah, Nelly, I've seen Nelly take on like a big sister role to Yeshua, my nephew, and Ethan because they're like kind of close. They're all, she's 21, my nephew is 16, Ethan is 14. So it's like kind of like when they were growing up, it was like at some point they were all in the same school kind of thing. So I've seen her be like a big sister-ish kind of role,
Yeah.
which I think has been really, really nice to see because then she's been able to like give this what you're saying about like, oh, she's a safe space and what, even till now, like they'll go to her with their girl trouble and what, because they know that she's not going to judge, she's just going to be whatever, things which she's not, they're not going to come and tell us.
Yeah.
So I've watched that happening and I think I really like it.
That is nice.
I think it's fantastic. And then also they added like, because we are still their parents, so she's able to interact from like an older sister perspective without it being like there's a burden of responsibility towards them.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like the fun things they're able to connect on, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that is really nice. Oh gosh, okay.
Jeez,
Was those you?
I think that was me. I don't know.
For my siblings, since it's a blended family, the tension came in when my dad left properties in my mom's name when they got divorced. Now we are girls, my sister and I, and we are my dad's biological children, whereas the boys are not his biological children. So now the boys want the cake because it's boys who inherit property from home while girls get married. The property is now in my mom's name and it's like she's siding with them because their dad died. For one thing, nothing was left, while for the other brother, he was left property by his dad in the rural area, so it's of low value than from our dad, which is an affluent estate in the urban center. Now we are just kumbayaing. No one wants to really talk about it, and we are all soon finishing campus. Everyone wants to use privilege from home as a head start instead of struggling from the bottom. That's interesting.
But the dad was not their dad.
The dad wasn't their dad.
Yeah, then sorry.
What?
Yeah, sorry. If your actual dad didn't leave you anything, I don't know.
Are you kidding? You're in a blended family.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Can't even know what I've just said.
Oh my God.
No, but you see, the reality is that I feel like when
Whose
it comes
reality?
to the reality of life of league of the law,
Oh,
the
the
reality
law.
of the law is that if I have left you something, I have left you something. If I haven't, I haven't. And now you see, there's nothing about like, oh, we are blended, we should all be kumbaya and whatever. He's the one who was to make the decision, and he's
but
died.
the dad has died and has left everything in the mom. They all share the mom, but they don't share the dad. Their dad died. The boy's dad died and left them nothing, and left one of them, I guess, low value land.
Yeah. But now, okay, you see, this is what Zach's opinion on this thing of like whatever, because we've always
Don't
talked
say
about
anything too controversial.
No, we've always talked about like these things of like succession of like, oh, what happens with your mom or whatever, because he's the last born boy and he has 3 older sisters. And so I don't know if it's like, I don't know how the Kikuyu succession politics works or whatever, but he said that his opinion is just like people should never start making budgeting or thinking about like, you know, benefiting from something that they have not worked for, and that it should just be like, if you get something, it's just a bonus that you end up getting, but it's not something that you should be like, this is what I'm depending on when I finish campus to get me ahead in life. What you should be depending on to get you ahead in life is merit, just your own merit, and that's it. I know it's like a good to have, but right now, first, the mom is alive, so she doesn't have to give anyone anything. So I feel like the best thing to do is just like, they should just like continue as if that land was not even there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you see, a lot of that,
like,
that I share that opinion.
Yeah.
I find it perplexing that we are beefing about who has land.
yeah,
And
just it's like it's not even
I
yours.
can't.
It would.
However,
Yeah, no.
some people's survival depends on it, right?
But these
That's
people have
it.
gone to uni.
Huh?
Because you said we're all about finish school. That means
Yeah.
you're educated.
Yeah, but then if the difference between what we get here is like hundreds of millions, believe you me, sister friend, no one is letting anything go. However, this is what I feel like. First of all, for Kikuyu succession, I have seen people do it very differently. In our family, all children are equal. Girls, boys, it doesn't matter everyone is going to inherit from the home as long as you are a child of the home. But now some other people are like, only boys inherit. But technically, in this dynamic, I don't think it would go like the boys would get it and the girls wouldn't.
I feel like everyone would, because now if it's all been left to the mom and she's the mom of all of them, it would make sense then that she would give all of them. Yeah,
it would, because actually what was your husband is yours. So now it doesn't matter who the father,
because
the biological children.
those are still her sons and these are her daughters, so why wouldn't she? But the thing is that people just need to like, actually for me, I can't fathom, maybe this is privilege speaking, but I can't fathom fighting with my siblings about something my parents
It is
owned.
privilege,
It's
for sure.
definitely privilege, and I can recognize how poor do that. But anyway, while your parents are alive, I don't see why that should be something that is like an issue. Now the issue comes in because a lot of like older people are not writing wills, are not specifying that when I die, I want this to go to this son, to the daughter, the whatever. So it's a fight it's a struggle that is coming.
But
you know?
actually, a
And that's
lot
the
of people, I feel like I feel like the middle class, are we middle class?
We are, I would
Right.
say, yeah.
So the middle class, I feel, is where people are not like, maybe are like neither here nor there. But people who don't have enough, a lot of times are going to fight over that because it's a survival thing, and where hundreds and millions and billions are involved.
Yeah.
Like usually it's always the extreme. Yeah. Usually it's the extreme. I'm not willing to fight with anyone for anything.
Yeah.
You know?
And I feel like in this kind of context, me, what I would do personally, if I feel like there's a tension brewing, because me, I don't like existing in tension. I don't like awkwardness. I would just be like, I would go and have a conversation with my mom, like, oh, but this seems to be something which is like a brewing discomfort in the family. Maybe it would be worth just sitting and having, life is lived in conversation. A lot of things can be cleared up from just one meeting where we all sit and we talk, and the mom just clears up. By the way, I'm intending to do X and Y and Z, or I think this is what's going to happen, except if that now leads to somebody murdering the mom, and now
because there are consequences to these things. We know many, especially in like the Kikuyu culture, children murdering their parents, children murdering these people because of land. This happens way too often, my good friend.
God,
So maybe
right.
she says, I'm leaving it to you two, you're dead tomorrow. Or she says, you're leaving it to the brother, you're resentful. Sometimes it's like, I don't want to open that box. Let us chew in awkwardness.
Makes you wonder, is it better if your parents die having left nothing or having left something or a lot?
I don't know. For me, I'm not willing to argue with anyone. If like whatever I'm supposed to get, I need it to be clear. I'm not fighting with you.
That's the thing. I'm also not willing to fight at all. Okay. Someone said, my small sister is the one who exposed to my parents I was having sex when I was 21. That was 2 years ago. Now our relationship is strong because I live permanently with my mom and she lives with my dad. Another example of how distance sometimes can bring people closer. Oh, yeah, sometimes maybe it's just we just need to not be living in the same house.
Yeah, I think distance actually helps. I feel like sometimes being under each other's noses can be massive really issue.
Bad, especially if like you're being forced to share a room or something like that, or like and your values are not aligning. Yeah, thank you.
I'm the second born in a family of 5. I love my youngest ones, but it's been terrible with my elder sister. I never fought with the others and I couldn't understand why she fought with me. Also, seeing how she was with my mom since 2015 took a toll on our relationship. She'd throw my weaknesses in my face no matter what I did. She just started coming around this year and I'm happy for her, but I'll never forget. One of the things that has helped us accepting that we are different and we are all human beings. So, I mean, we are not changing the past. I don't exactly like you, but you're different and here we are.
I'll never forget though.
Yeah, that's severe.
Yeah. Sometimes, by the way, one of the things that I wanted to say is like, we need to also recognize that sometimes maybe your sibling is just a bad person.
Yeah, because you think because they are siblings, it's not possible they're a bad person.
No, maybe they're just a bad person. Maybe they're just really not great.
Accept that someone thinks you're a bad person too. I accept it too. I do. Because there's somebody who really thinks, like, if somebody who I don't like and they don't like me, you think they go around saying, look at her. That's my
I know
cousin.
For sure these
She's
people
so
who hate
sweet.
Me. Yeah.
Oh, look at, no. They're like, that's that bitch.
It's true.
That's that fucking toxic bitch.
Yeah.
So, and that's okay. That's okay. It's all good. We need to stop making more commentary so we can read all of these, okay? Are you going to be able to try?
I'm going to try.
Okay.
Kindly share on how to cope with a mean but not mean elder sister. Passive-aggressive. That's just like, oh.
You be passive-aggressive back. That's how I'll deal with it.
Damn. Oh, jeez.
You look nice today. Oh, okay. I hope to say the same one of these days. I hope to say the same.
You're not that person. You're not a mean girl.
I'm not a mean.
You can't be a mean girl.
Let me tell you, when people are passive aggressive, the only way to do is that way, because passive aggressive is hidden around to make you look crazy. If you confront someone, that's the purpose of passive aggression. So it's like sometimes you gotta meet it that way. Yeah. Or they just be like awkward about it.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised you're comfortable telling me that. That seems mean. You don't think? There you go.
Sometimes I see a side of Lydia that I'm just like, is this my friend?
Yeah. I don't mind being awkward to teach you a lesson.
Right.
Yeah. Let's in that awkwardness.
No, Lydia, you've not met a man yet?
I'm surprised you say that. I'm surprised you're comfortable telling someone that in 2024. That's interesting.
You're right. A lot of people don't expect you to react like that. A lot of people expect you to be like,
oh yeah, I'm still no. Oh, that's interesting that you'd ask me that. I was only joking. Is your man still cheating? Oh, I was only joking.
Oh, so he is.
I was only joking.
Yeah, you're right.
I can be passive aggressive. Yeah. I feel like that's the only way to meet it, because passive aggressive people are gonna attack you. If you not say something like that, they'll be like, "Oh, lady, you can't take a joke." Oh, sorry, what was the joke?
Oh, right.
Oh, sorry, I didn't get the joke. Yeah. Please tell me.
Okay, from now on, I'm going with Lydia to all my family events. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But anyway, the point is that if this person is saying mean but not mean, it's like, I feel like that goes for even if it's a mean but not mean friend. Yeah. Right? Or a mean but not mean
match that passive-aggressive energy. Yeah,
exactly. And don't be tied, I guess, to the result of you guys being close. Maybe they're just a bad person who you're not meant to be friends with.
Maybe.
It is what it is. I said, not read that one.
Okay. Hey, Queens. I started staying with my mom when I was in nursery school. By the end, she got married and had a son, my brother. She took me in. Took you in? She's your mother. She took me in and told my stepdad I'm an orphan from the village who she used to support when she was at her mom's place, my shosho's place. I was staying with her sister before I went to stay with her. The sister burnt my hand so bad, that's why my mom took me in. all along I knew my mom was my aunt. My brother was in an academy, and I was taken to a public primary school. I was green from Ushago and green from Ushago. I don't know what that means.
Green means like you are ignorant, like you didn't know things, like you are.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just like I'm green. So I don't know things.
Really?
Yeah, you've
Oh,
not
I've
had
never
people
heard
using
that.
that. Yeah.
No, that's such a nice thing to say.
Yeah, I'm
It's
so
not
green
nice.
about production. Yeah, I don't know anything
Really?
about production.
Oh, I like that.
Mm.
Okay. I was green from Ushago and very scared because at my auntie's place I'd be beaten even for eating too fast. I.e., my mom would call me Kanusi. What does that mean?
I don't know.
That in Luo translation is like someone who is a short wire. Okay.
Oh, dear.
I don't know if you understand this.
Yeah.
You
Thank
knew,
you.
You
have
knew
seen-
who was going to read this. She would tell my brother to call me that too, and it became a thing. Her friends knew I was a house help. She was just helping. I didn't have a relationship with my brother growing up because he was raised knowing I'm not his sister.
Oh, honey, I don't know. I mean, sometimes when I read things like that, it begs the question: is that woman just a horrible woman? Like, why have a child
I think
and
because
treat them like that?
because there's so much pressure for women to be married.
Oh,
A child
right.
cannot stand in the way of
It's
that.
true. But it's like, even if she didn't care that much, why didn't she just leave her at her aunt's house to
But
just
then
be burnt
she
there?
wants to. She loves her child. It's not she doesn't love her child, but I can't have you interfering with this marriage, baby.
And so you're going to public school, and you're going
See,
to, and I'm going to
that's just
abuse
me.
you, and I'm
But
going to
it's
abuse
because
you.
the husband can't see, like, okay, we're taking her in, it's okay to go to that school. He probably doesn't know why, because maybe he knew this was your child, he wouldn't do that. But that's
really
crazy. That's
unfortunate.
horrible.
For me, I feel like that's the kind of thing where afterwards I would not be now trying to build a relationship with my mom. I would go to therapy and learn
And
to
move
heal
on.
and release it. But this person is no longer. You don't feel like I'm your daughter. I am not your daughter.
That's crazy to me.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
That's
Jeez,
horrible.
That's horrendous. I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
we keep making commentary. What is wrong with
I
us?
know. I'm so sorry. Okay, we are already so far in, guys. But let's just read a few more.
Yeah.
We grew up in a dysfunctional family where both our parents had problematic behaviors. My dad is an alcoholic, and my mom is a religious extremism. Is she talking about my family?
Oh my God.
So we experienced various forms of neglect, abuse, inconsistent parenting, lack of parental guidance, communication breakdown, etc. All these created a competitive atmosphere, resentment, jealousy among us.
The end.
The end.
Oh wow.
You know, one thing that I feel like makes me feel empowered as an adult is that what happened when I was growing up is just what happened when I was growing up, and that we had no control and no power over that. But I feel like now as an adult, I keep telling myself that now I'm no longer small Murugi, and you're no longer small Angie, and you're no longer small Dora, and there's only an extent to which we can be like, oh, growing up it was like this, growing up now it's like, now we are here. What can we do now? And I don't know if it's unrealistic of me to have that same expectation of other people, but I'm just like, now once you've become an adult, that's what happened. What are you gonna do now?
What made you say that? Are you speaking to this lady, or are you just saying in the general?
I mean, in the general grand scheme of things,
okay.
I'm just like, yeah. So I really hope that in their situation is like recognizing that the atmosphere was created by the fact that mom was this way and dad was this way. It wasn't by the fact that Lydia was this way or I was this way. It was created by these two factors. But now that we are adults and we are no longer under the thumb of mom and dad, can we be different? Can we live differently? Can we
try?
interact?
Because it's
Can
hard.
we? Yeah.
It's so hard to change those dynamics. The other side, yeah.
Oh, I'm just like, food. How lovely. This plate looks lovely. So beautiful and healthy. Okay, here we go. I have a great relationship with my siblings. We love each other's company and are all good friends. My small bro and I fight/disagree from time to time, but we are also the closest and ride hard for each other. My big sis and I had the closest relationship growing up. Then it got quite strained in our young adulthood, but God is restoring it. Amen. Love that.
Love it.
We always thought our firstborn brother was too much of a deputy parent growing up, but we became so close in adulthood. Our youngest sister is where it's a bit of a struggle. It's like we are only close when we meet. You know, someone needs to have, like, some kind of therapist needs to be there, like a support group for all firstborns.
Definitely.
Because I feel like you guys really went through a lot.
You're right.
Some of it self-imposed, but some of it like actually
Define
imposed.
one that's self-imposed.
So like right now, the way I see Ethan, I see how sometimes we really do put him in the position of deputy parent because like you're so much older than the girls, you can take care of them kind of thing, even when it's not his role to do so. But I feel like sometimes firstborns just like, because you're the oldest, it's like you guys just like, you've just put it upon yourself that now you're the one who's going to be deputy parent, even if no one is expecting you to be deputy parent. Do you know what I mean?
That's almost always not true, because children become what they're being taught to be. Why is it the baby is the baby because the parents are making the baby, but the deputy parent just wants vibes?
Yeah, and why can't you stop that, guys?
Let me tell you what there is, though, is that there's like some firstborns do take it too far. There's like an arrogance about firstborns. First of all, I'm always insulted if someone doesn't think I'm a firstborn. That's so rude. What do you mean? I want the whole world to know when I enter this room that I'm a firstborn.
But I feel like you give definite firstborn.
I know.
energy.
No one
So
has
do
ever
I.
said that I was giving. You do. I can't even believe you're not a firstborn.
Crazy.
So anyway, there's a kind of I'm better than everyone energy that sometimes comes with being the deputy parent, being there's a power in it. So sometimes you enjoy that, but truly as a child, that's not the dynamic you should be with, or you should have over other children, because it teaches you a very unrealistic thing that you are in control of other people when you're absolutely not.
And also, I feel like it's just such unrealistic pressure. I remember growing up all the time, and like Angie was one of those like really smart kids. Like she'd always be number one, number two, whatever. And so it's always used to be like, you see what the pace that your older sister has set, the pace they have set. So of course now it's internalized that you see your job is to set the pace. It's not for you to like just you can fail or whatever.
Definitely.
You are the pace setter.
And that's why a lot of times we're rebellious, because we're trying to get from underneath the expectations of us. My mom admits that she used to say all the time, like, Aggie is looking up to you. So, you've got
all parents.
You've got to do this because your parents are looking up to you, not because you should do something good for yourself, because your life has more value beyond being a sibling. It's that your example is being set for her so that she can do well. So what about me?
Yes, your example was set for by us as the parents.
How? You Negroes. I know somebody lied.
TMI really makes me take a hard look at how I parent, by the way, because now I'm just like, I want to think of all the ways that I could in any way say anything that is invalidating Ethan's
Did you not just say right now that you make him the deputy parent because, he should?
Yeah, but sometimes, surely, yeah. No, sometimes.
There's actually this reel, I hope I can find it, where they talk about how they made sure that the older sibling didn't become a deputy parent. Things like they don't make her take care of her other siblings. When she goes somewhere, she doesn't have to take them. Like consistently over and over again, separating the divide that you are not a parent, you are our child. But it's work, you can tell. And she's a lot older than the other ones. Yeah. So it's kind of like that. But it's like they want it to always be from a place of joy. Not because like she'll be punished when she doesn't do that. They'll think that her parents will think she's irresponsible. Or like, why won't you just do... It's like, it's always from a place of choice, which I think is wonderful. And you can see now the relationship the two of they have. It's like, it's just joyous. No one hates anyone.
This is my problem with such... things is like, okay, you don't want anyone to be responsible for anyone else. Yeah. But right now, as I think about like anytime Mukeni and Mutana are going outside, I'll always be like, Mukeni, make sure you take care of your younger sister. Make sure you take care of Mutana, right? This is the quagmire. Listen and tell me, are you hearing?
I'm hearing.
Are your ears open?
They are open.
You are hearing?
I'm hearing.
Mukeni is at that age where she just goes out to play with her friends by themselves, right? They'll just go out, and she has this really close cohort of friends. They're like 3 or 4 of them, and they're all like 6, 7 years old. Mukeni is Mutana's idol. Like, she really loves her so much. Like, she always will want... So whenever Mukeni is going out to play, Mutana wants to tag along and play with Mukeni. The problem is that Mukeni and her friends are really fast and they're really aggressive. So they like ride their bikes really fast. They're jumping over a fence or whatever. And Mutana can't keep up with them sometimes, right? But she gets... Like, if she sometimes like... Mukeni will be like, oh, Mutana, go wear your shoes. Then when Tana's going to wear her shoes, Kenny goes out the door and now leaves her. And now she's so sad. Mutana gets so sad. Like, she's literally crying. She's like, I just want to play with Kenny. I want to play with Kenny. What is someone supposed to do in that kind of situation? Because I don't want now to sow seeds of you're just too small. You're not fun enough to be with the other girls. But Mukeni is like, I don't want you to just have... I want her to also have fun. Not all the time you have to slow down to wait for Mutana. You know what I mean?
I definitely get it. It's a dance. It's a dance, baby. Because on this one hand, you want Mukeni to have her own identity and know she's a child, and it's not. And guess what? Maybe she doesn't want to be out taking care of Tana.
She doesn't. I know she doesn't.
There you go.
She's always like, she's too slow.
Tana doesn't want to play with her own friends.
No, she wants to play with Mukeni and her friends.
Then maybe that's what needs to be discussed to Tana. Can
tell
we
her
find
what
you
she's
friends,
for.
baby?
She's for.
Baby Tana.
Yeah. And
Lydia
sometimes,
wants to be your friend.
even when her friends are outside, she'll be like, she's with her friends. But as soon as she sees Mukeni and her friends, she just wants to be where Mukeni is because, of
Which
course,
I
Mukeni is
get.
her idol.
I get it.
I know.
It's a dance. So who's going to...
And this is the thing, I just feel like no matter how good we try to do as parents, something is going to get your kids in therapy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because what are you going to do? Yeah. Something will. We've already said that. You can only do the best that you can do. And you know what? This is what I think we should do. I think we should have like an episode where we have like, or maybe like 2 or 3 episodes where we have a therapist and have different issues on what to do. Like whether it's parenting, this is the
I love
whatever.
the idea, yeah.
Then maybe dating. What would you advise? You know, we
Yeah.
have like different therapists for different whatever, because we have a lot of what's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't know either.
Honestly, yeah. And
Let's
please,
do
guys,
that.
when you come on TMI, it's not at that. Don't go and bash us at it because, as we've said, and we're like the experts on whatever. By the way, we are not.
We
As you
don't.
can see, we are all just figuring things out. We have stuff with our sisters. We have stuff with our dads, our moms. We have stuff with our kids.
Yeah.
You know, and stuff like that. So please, we are not experts in anything.
Considering we're such therapy champions, it's about time we got a mental
For
health
sure,
specialist
yeah.
to guide us on specific topics. Like
Yeah.
we do maybe one on parenting, one on
Sex.
or a sex therapist.
A sex
That's
therapist,
true.
yes.
And then maybe one on, I don't know, living
Or
authentically, like generally
friendships
about
or
life.
something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that could
Boom.
be good.
We're gonna arrange,
Done.
guys.
Thank you, yeah, guys.
Done.
And let us know if that's
We
something
have to
you-
end the
which
episode.
other- I know. Who knew that talking about siblingness
Would be the thing that gets our episodes to this. So you guys have been dying for 2-hour episodes. Here we are. It's been an accident. Our production lead
She's not
is
so
not
happy.
smiling. She's not smiling.
But we guarantee you, as we have had fun.
As we've had fun,
as
but
we have
did she?
enjoyed.
No, she did not. Let's cut
Wow,
it.
we are yeah.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining this series, Siblings. I think we might do maybe another one, like down there as we're doing it with like the therapist or whatever. But we appreciate you so much for your feedback, because this entire episode has been you guys and your feedback. So thank you so much for being our co-creators with in some of these episodes. I have personally learned so much. We continue to learn. We continue to work with grace and compassion, especially where human beings are involved.
Exactly.
And yeah, I've loved this, babe.
I've loved this too. And to everyone who shares their story, their experience, everything that they know, their knowledge with us about you, like your siblings or whatever. Anytime we ask on Instagram and we just get so much response from you guys, we really, really, really appreciate that, because it just adds the meat to what it is that we are saying. It's like, it's not just Lydia's opinion or just my opinion. It's also, we are sharing your stories. So it's like real life stories of people. And we hope that when you listen to them, you can be like, oh, someone else is going through that. Other people are also experiencing this, and not just necessarily just our own opinions and our own stories.
Yes.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for watching this episode. We look forward to seeing your comments and your DMs. TMI Podcast KE. Feel free to DM us anything, any future story. We look forward to reading it. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you in our next episode.
Bye.